to transform your life in 15 minutes. My name is Pia McAdams and I am an accounting professor. I'm also a certified coach specializing in personal and small business finance and also fitness. We are doing 5-minute exercises, one each for the mind, the body, and the soul. And I want to take this time to thank you for taking 15 minutes out of your whole 24 hours just to do something good for yourself. For the mind portion of it, we are reading a book, which is Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. For the yoga portion, we are doing the sun salutations. And for the soul portion, we are doing a meditation. So again, I want to thank you for taking the time to watch either live. Those of you that are on live, hi, and good morning to you. This is not so early anymore, is it? And then for those of you that are watching the recording, I also want to thank you as well. And if you are just coming into this, then I welcome you especially. And don't feel like you're way behind. These days, the past 15 days are all been recorded and they're out there either on my Facebook page or you can actually find them all on my YouTube channel as well for a limited time. Okay? Now, where we are in the book, we actually just finished up chapter 4 yesterday and we are learning about self-image and particularly like how to program it, but more specifically the importance of the self-image. And you know, yesterday I was watching this movie and it had me thinking about this book. So in case you're like wondering how this applies to you, I was watching this movie and this particular part of the movie was with this little boy. He couldn't be no more between like, let's say 8 and 10 years old. He was definitely no older than 8. So his job was to tend the animals. This was a country, it was in Peru. So this was like a poor family. They had, land. And his job was to tend the animals, particularly the sheep and the llama. Well, there was a helicopter that came above, so the helicopter diverted his attention, and then when he came back to, his attention came back to him, he looked for the llama, and the llama was gone. Fast forward to, he lost the llama, so he goes back, and his dad is beating him because he lost his llama, like he's just yelling at him. And so what I want you to do is think about a time when your parents yell at you and how it really affected you. Like the father was yelling at him, beating him, saying like discouraging words to him, even went so far as to tell him, don't come back home until you find this llama. Now, I say this because, again, I want you to understand the importance of your self-image. I don't want you to feel for this instance, one, particularly if you are a parent, be careful what you're saying to your children. I mean, I know, my son's now 16 years old, and I don't even want to think about the things I said to him when I was younger in a fit of rage because it would make me teary-eyed. And because I didn't, know the effect of what it's what it's doing to his self-image, because of course I'm just learning about this myself. But I say this for you, not just for yourself, think about what happened to you in your past, but also if you do have children, be careful how you talk to them. Long story short, on that particular movie, when he went to look for the llama, he ended up falling, getting hurt, and his bottom of his leg below his knee ended up getting cut off because it got infected. And as you can imagine, the father felt really, really upset while he's in the hospital and he's worried about some darn llama with his, son. He pretty much banished his son from the family. But anyway, that kind of stuff is important, okay? Now, in this book, what we're learning, though, is there is a way to counter that. And that's where we are up until this point. We learned 2 different methods to counter your negative belief or to help improve your self-image. One of them was through imagination. And then the second one we just talked about was through hypnotism. But it's not like the hypnotize that you're thinking where I'm saying go to a special hypnotist. This is more of the hypnotizing, meaning be careful with what you surround yourself around. Your environment, the people that you see, the things the places that you go. Be careful with that because all of that is actually programming your mind. For instance, you may be watching TV. Let's say that you're an overweight person. And you look around TV, billboards, just about everywhere you go, they have advertisement of all these skinny people and they all seem happy. And so internally, you're feeling bad about yourself because you think that you're unhealthy and you're not happy. And you think the way to get to your happiness is to be like the people you see on TV. So that's just like a small mirror of an example that's out there. But just be careful with what you are. So we had 2 30-minute practices on how to improve your self-image. So now we're on chapter 5, and this is entitled How to Utilize the Power of Rational Thinking. So again, we're still talking about how to reprogram that self-image because it really plays an important role on whether or not you reach the goals that you set for yourselves. Okay, let's get started here. All right, it says many of my patients are plainly disappointed when I prescribe something as simple as using their God-given power of reason as a method of changing negative beliefs and behavior. To some, it seems incredibly naive and unscientific, yet it does have one advantage. It works. And as we shall see later, it is based upon sound scientific findings. There is a widely accepted fallacy that rational, logical, conscious thinking has no power over unconscious process or mechanism, and that to change negative beliefs, feelings, or behavior, it is necessary to dig down and dredge up material from the unconscious. Your automatic mechanism, or what the Freudians call the unconsciousness, is absolutely impersonal. It operates as a machine and has no will of its own. It always tries to act appropriately to your current beliefs and interpretations concerning environment. It always seeks to give you appropriate feelings and to accomplish the goals that you consciously determine. It works only on the data that you feed it in the form of ideas, beliefs, interpretations, and opinions. It is conscious thinking that is the control knob of your unconscious machine. It was by conscious thought, through perhaps irrational and unrealistic, that the unconscious machine developed its negative and inappropriate reaction patterns, and it is by conscious rational thought that the automatic reaction patterns can be changed. Dr. John A. Schindler, the author of How to Live 365 Days a Year, and who introduced the concept of emotionally induced illness, won nationwide fame for his outstanding success in helping unhappy, neurotic people regain the joy of living and return to productive, happy lives. His percentage of cures far exceeded that of psychoanalysis. One of the keys to his method of treatment was what he called conscious thought control. Regardless of the omissions and commissions of the past, he said, a person has to start in the present to acquire some maturity so that the future may be better than the past. The present and the future depend on learning new habits and new ways of looking at old problems. There simply isn't any future in digging up continually into the past. The underlying emotion problem has the same common denominator in every patient. The common denominator is that the patient has forgotten how, or probably never learned how, to control his present thinking to produce enjoyment. So basically, right now, what this is saying is, in order to help with your positive thinking and get rid of those negative beliefs, we don't need to dig so much into the past. We need to look forward. So next it says, let sleeping dogs lie. The fact that you are buried in unconscious memories of past failures, unpleasant and painful experiences does not mean that these must be dug out, exposed, or examined in order to effect personality changes. As we have pointed out earlier, all skill learning is accomplished by trial and error, by making a trial, missing the mark, consciously remembering the degree of error, and making corrections to the next, until it finally hit or a successful attempt is accomplished. The successful reaction pattern is then remembered or recalled and intimidated for future trials. This is true for a man learning to pitch horseshoes, throw darts, sing, drive a car, play golf, get along socially with other human beings, or any other skill. It is also true of a mechanical rat learning its way through a maze. Thus, all servo mechanisms by their very nature contain memories of past errors, failures, painful, and negative experiences. These negative experiences do not inhibit but contribute to the learning process as long as they are used properly as negative feedback data and are seen as deviations from the positive goal that is desired. However, as soon as the error has been recognized as such, a correction of course made, it is equally important that the error be consciously forgotten and the successful attempt remembered and dwelt on. So this is saying again, remember that a mind is like an autopilot. Remember, we have that eternal guidance system. So think in terms of again, the plane being driven by an autopilot. So what the pilot does is he set the course destination, and so then the plane will start going toward the destination. And there may be turbulence where they go on or off, they veer on or off course, but that guidance system puts them back on course. So that's what this is saying as well. We don't have to dig back into our past and bring up all those emotional memories of how we were abused or how we were talked negatively to in order to correct the future. All we need to do is focus on what our goal is, focus on remember our imagination, and also using hypnotism, means being being surrounded by more positivity than negativity, then our servo mechanism will be on point and take us right to our goals. All right, so that concludes our mind portion of the exercise. We will now move on to the yoga, and then immediately following the yoga, we will move to the meditation. If you're just not joining me, I want to welcome you to the challenge. This is where we're going to transform our life in 15 minutes. And this is by doing those 5-minute exercises in the mind, body, and soul. A lot of times when we have a goal, it's usually a physical goal, like, lose weight or something that we can actually physically see. But in order to achieve those goals, we have 3 parts of us, right? We're made up of mind, body, and soul, all of us. So why are we neglecting 2 of the 3? So this transformation challenge is for you to focus on all 3. And I guarantee you, if you do focus on all 3, it's going to make that one that you really want that much easier to obtain. All right, so we're going to go into the yoga salutations, sun salutation, and then we're going to immediately go into meditation. Namaste. This brings us to our last and final exercise. This is a 5-minute meditation, so go ahead and get in a nice, comfortable position. We're going to be using Ujjayi breaths, inhaling deeply for 1 and exhaling for 2. There's thoughts that come along in your mind, just gently push them aside and focus on your breath. return refreshed and calm. You've done something good for yourself today. Sorry. Okay, so that concludes day 16 of the Transform Your Life in 15 Minutes. Have a good day. See you tomorrow. Bye.